Microman's a guy that is at or near retirement, and he just really wants to enjoy life, but he's frustrated about what's going on with the country. So in his heart, he's still struggling with it, but he'd just rather go have lunch and let everything be. Microman is the opposite of whatever Macroman would be. Macroman would be a person who thinks about the country in the large context. What are we going to do with tax policy? What are we going to do about foreign affairs? And Microman is about day-to-day living. He's at or near retirement, and he's thinking about, I only have so many years left. I just want to really enjoy my life. But he struggles with, how am I going to help the country? The country's going to have to go on, and do I stand up and fight for the principles that made this country great, or do I just enjoy life and be selfish about it? And that's his internal struggle, and that's how he got created. Well, it came during the election. I was frustrated by what I was hearing during the general campaign, and I've always been a guy who's tried to understand the big picture, and that's where macro comes from, and the opposite of that is micro, in the smaller picture. And so I was thinking I just really needed to relax and enjoy life, and so I started to write, and Microman became about the guy who just needed to enjoy life, and that's where his name came from. He's Microman because he wants to enjoy life. Well, there's no such thing as a free lunch, and Microman is the type of guy who will go into the diner, and when he's there with Shirley, who works behind the counter, and he'll ask Shirley, "What's the soup today?" And she'll say, "It's cream of bailout broccoli soup." And he says, "Isn't that unusual?" And she says, "Not really, Microman. Anytime you see bailout, you should expect to get cream." Well, the Tea Party edition is dedicated to people who are struggling on the constitutional rights of all Americans, and they just want to make sure that we stand up and fight for all Americans. Well, I actually thought Joe represented, the time I started writing this, Joe's your average guy who just wanted to, have what's right with America shine. And so I found him. I went searching for him, found him, had a conversation with him, told him what my idea was, what I was creating, and asked if he'd like to get involved, and he said, absolutely. And that's how I connected with Joe the plumber. Well, Dr. Boomer would be seeing patients, and he'd be trying to fill cavities with common sense solutions because he's very upset with what's going on. But he's very resentful of how much the federal government is taking from our pocketbooks. Well, the Tea Party, contrary to what's being reported into the mainstream media, is really a grassroots effort by average Americans who want to see equal rights for all Americans. And this is part of the struggle. And I just happened to be at the showdown in Searchlight in Nevada, and Joe the plumber was there with me as well. And it's just average Americans, there's an anger, there's a frustration, because the government has created entitlement after entitlement after entitlement. It's not sustainable. And the Tea Party movement basically was founded out of people being frustrated with the finances of our country because we're all going to go broke. The currency might implode, hyperinflation. I mean, it's not a pretty scenario. And these patriot Americans are standing up to fight for the foundation to keep our country strong. Sure, it varies. I do a lot of parodies. There's one character in the book called Kid, and Kid's 9 years old. He's very inquisitive, and he's just wanting to find out what's going on. He was reading his nursery rhyme book in bed one night, and the nursery rhyme went something like this. Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to fetch her poor dog a bone. When she got there, the cupboard was bare, so the government guaranteed her a loan.